HOA Karen vandalized library bulletin, got fined $110,000 and forced to replace it herself. The roses were Karen Whitmore's pride, her crown in the Meadowview Homeowners Association. Each petal in her garden was a testament to her control, her meticulous standards. She was the HOA president, a title she wore like armor, her sharp eyes scanning the neighborhood for any deviation in trimmed hedges, loud music, or, God forbid, a mismatched mailbox. But nothing enraged her more than the library's community garden, a chaotic burst of wildflowers planted by volunteers, led by Emma Larson, the young librarian with a quiet fire in her eyes. To Karen, it was an eyesore, a rebellion against her vision of order. To Emma, it was a symbol of freedom, a gift to the town. Karen's campaign began subtly. Complaints at HOA meetings, snide remarks about weeds undermining property values. Emma, barely 25, stood her ground, her voice soft but unyielding, rallying the town to protect the garden. The library's bulletin board, a weathered wooden stand where Emma posted poetry and community events, became their battleground. Karen demanded its removal, claiming it was tacky. Emma refused, and the town sided with her. The tension simmered, but no one expected it to boil over. One humid August evening, Karen snapped. Armed with a can of red spray paint and a pair of garden shears, she stormed the library grounds under the cover of dusk. Her heart pounded not with fear, but with righteous fury. She slashed through the wildflowers, their stems crumpling like defeated foes. Petals fell like tears. Mixing with torn pages she ripped from library books, scattering them across the dirt. The bulletin board was her final target. She sprayed "Remove this" in jagged letters, the paint dripping like blood. As she stepped back, chest heaving, she felt a twisted victory. Order would prevail. The next morning, Meadowview woke to chaos. Emma arrived first, her gasp echoing through the quiet. The garden was a graveyard of color, the bulletin board defaced, books ruined. Tears welled as she knelt among the wreckage, clutching a shredded copy of The Secret Garden. Townsfolk gathered, their whispers turning to outrage. Karen watched from her porch, her satisfaction curdling into unease as police arrived. She hadn't expected cameras small, hidden ones installed after recent vandalism. The footage was damning. Karen, unmistakable in her HOA-branded jacket, wielding paint and shears like weapons. The town hall meeting was a crucible. Karen, defiant, claimed she was protecting the neighborhood's aesthetic. Emma, her voice breaking, spoke of the garden's purpose. A haven for kids, a tribute to her late mother, who'd loved wildflowers. The crowd's mood shifted, and Karen felt the weight of their judgment. Then came the twist. A timid voice broke the silence. Tyler, a 16-year-old who mowed Karen's lawn, confessed. He'd egged her on, venting his own frustrations about the library's rules to Karen, knowing her temper. He hadn't expected her to act, and his guilt now mirrored Emma's grief. The room softened, torn between blame and empathy. The court's ruling was merciless. Karen faced a $110,000 fine, $10,000 for damages, $100,000 for punitive measures, a warning to others. Worse, she was ordered to replant the garden and rebuild the bulletin board herself, under Emma's supervision. The town watched as Karen, humiliated, dug through dirt, her manicured nails caked with soil. Emma, ever gentle, offered guidance, but Karen's pride choked her apologies. Each day, she worked in silence, the weight of her actions sinking deeper. Tyler, seeking redemption, joined her, planting seeds with trembling hands. The town saw not just Karen's punishment, but a fractured community trying to heal. Weeks passed, and the garden began to bloom again, wilder than before. The new bulletin board stood proud, adorned with Emma's poetry and children's drawings. Karen, though, was a ghost of herself. Her HOA presidency was revoked, her reputation shattered. Neighbors avoided her, their glances heavy with pity or disdain. One evening, as she placed the final rose in the garden, Emma approached. "It's beautiful," she said softly. Karen's eyes welled, but she turned away. The victory she'd once craved was ashes. She'd won nothing, lost everything: her status, her pride, her place in Meadowview. The twist lingered in the town's memory. Tyler's confession had shifted the narrative, forcing them to question who was truly at fault. Was it Karen's zeal, Tyler's careless words, or the community's silence that let tensions fester? The garden thrived, but the scars remained in the land, in hearts, and in the unspoken rift between neighbors. Karen moved away months later, her house sold quietly. Emma stayed, tending the garden, but even she felt the ache of a victory too costly. In the end, the story wasn't about flowers or fines, but about the cost of pride and the fragility of community. The garden stood as a reminder. Beauty grows in chaos, but only if nurtured with care. What do you think, was Karen's punishment justice, or did it deepen the town's wounds?